What is up, Bitcoin Radio? It's your man, Joe Blackburn, and I'm joined by the scam man's Jim Scampoli. What's going on, Big Daddy Jim?
What it do, my man? You got to be careful calling me the scam man. People take that literally in this neck of the woods. People don't take kindly to jokes about scams.
Very true.
But yes, my name is Jim Scampoli. Welcome to Bitcoin Radio. I'm here to announce that I will be eating my own dick by the end of this year.
Nice.
That's true. You could take that to the bank. You could put it in your pipe.
Yeah.
You can smoke it. You can cash the check on it. Because I have integrity, unlike certain other people that will remain nameless.
Ooh, sounds like John Mack is getting called out by the great one, Jim Scampoli, everybody. Now, first and foremost, before you say that, you're more in danger of people being mad that you're calling yourself the scam man in front of them. And it's really me calling you that because other people like to be called the scam person, guy or girl. So you're not in danger of like people getting mad at your name is the scam man. You could be like the anti-scam man. How about that? Can I call you the anti-scam man?
I guess I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm just trying to keep my image in the crypto space. Unlike others,
Your man, John McAfee.
Unlike certain antivirus moguls that will remain nameless. And wow, I can't even believe, I know it's kind of on topic, but I'm surprised they haven't either made him change his name or change the name. But I guess it's just branding at this point, right?
Yeah, you can't change the McAfee brand. Dude, have you ever watched his videos on YouTube about like the commercials for McAfee and stuff?
No.
They're incredible. They're not just kind of incredible. They are incredible. They're the most badass. John McAfee's like lighting $100 bills on fire. There's 50 women in bourgeois attire, and his wife, Janice, who I've obviously got a chance to interviewed them both on here. His wife's like kind of right there, like just directing traffic. Dude, pull it up on YouTube, man. We'll share it and we can talk about John McAfee because I still love John McAfee. I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me you didn't know he wasn't. Now, I know you're the anti-scam man. So Therefore, you can sniff out an anti-scam all day long. Do you think he was really scamming folks?
Well, see, my thing is I know you guys already talked about this on your previous show, and I know people have already been kind of discussing it. And it's not even so much that I'm disappointed in him saying he's not going to eat his own dick, because obviously he wasn't going to eat his own dick. I'm not surprised by that.
Clearly, this was not going to happen.
But I did expect him to maybe have a better payoff for his statements. The big thing, the thing that I'm more disappointed in is that he's trying to throw Bitcoin under the bus in a way. Instead of just saying like, yeah, hey, I was talking shit, trying to get attention, and you ate right out of my hands. He has to be like, yeah, I'm not going to eat my own dick, but also Bitcoin sucks. Like I know I'm paraphrasing here, but what does he say? It's an ancient technology, newer blockchain, privacy, smart contracts, disrupted apps, and more. Bitcoin's our future. Was the Model T the future of the automobile? So he's kind of trying to disconnect himself completely. And not to say he's not making points. There are some points we've talked about on this very show about Bitcoin in general, how it is kind of slow and maybe not as efficient to get more widespread. Like it's one of the big hurdles for mass adoption.
Sure.
But again, I get the dick thing. That's all about getting the attention. Mm-hmm. I just feel like then he threw Bitcoin under the bus, and that's what hurts. That's the knife in the heart that he's twisting and turning.
Well, let me tell you, Jim, and although I appreciate your assessment, and I don't disagree with why you say those things, I can tell you this. Since John McAfee said that, Bitcoin is up to $8,300.
Do that. That's not because of McAfee, though.
You're right. No, there are some very serious things happening in this world, obviously, which I don't want to make light of.
But you know what? No, that's genius, and I'm sure McAfee, that could be his next step, his next tweet. Like, oh, look what's happening. I make a little comment, and look at the pricing. Hey, am I a genius? But no,
look, Jim, let's be real though. Hold on. Let me ask you real quick. What's up, Ash, by the way? So if you're John McAfee, clearly, whether you win or lose the bet, first off, not winning the bet, is irrelevant. If you win the bet, you just look like a complete badass and you're super rich right now, along with everybody else. But like, we know for a fact, as you already acknowledged, John McAfee was not physically going to chop his flesh off. I don't care if it was a finger that was his bet, let alone his sexual, organ that he still apparently is able to use at a very high level, according to numerous reports, right? Nothing I've seen the Netflix documentary. Okay. I mean, we all have, for one way or the next. Now, if anybody thought or considered this to be a legitimate bet, clearly, though, I think even those giving them the hardest time are joking in their own right. But the attention and the excitement and the rah-rah behind that, that's a Donald Trump style of marketing, I guess you could say, right? I mean, love him or hate him, doesn't matter. I mean, this is irrelevant to politics. That's how Donald Trump gets across. That's how John McAfee gets across. There's a lot of similarities there. I've talked about this before, but it works. It freaking works. Guess how many times people talk about on CCT alone, John McAfee's going to chop off his dick and eat it. He's going to lose the bet. On CCT every day, there's 26 posts of the exact same thing. Oh, the dickening. And as I said, I believe probably one of the main reasons why John McAfee finally came out and said it is because somebody was making money off the dickening.com. And he was like, F really? That.
Yeah. But I guess, again, I think I just gave him more credit because I thought maybe he'd have a better bit to pay it off somehow.
Dude, he could have been creative with it. I agree. He could have been creative.
And again, I do take a little umbrage because I feel like he tried to save face by throwing Bitcoin under the bus. But I mean, I guess he does say like, hey, my plan was to get wider spread adoption. And I kind of did that. I mean, you can't really deny he did get people talking, like you just said. Although, was it the McAfee marketing train, or was it the crypto Bitcoin marketing train that he was pushing?
Okay, so I'm of the opinion, and I hate to even go on record since we are live and this will be the podcast tomorrow, but I believe that alts are really, really close. Not all alts, most altcoins should not make the move up, but a lot of alts that have weathered the storm, that have weathered this winter. Bitcoin hasn't been in a winter, by the way, right? Bitcoin went from $3,100 in December 2018, and all through 2019, all it did was go up. It went up a lot, came back down, retraced a little bit. And then, we've had a really positive start to 2019. And it's really awesome to be able to say, by the way, Jim, that 2017 and 2018, 2019, we've had this gradual, even through that amazing bull run of 2017, we've had this really, I would say, pretty pleasant experience besides 1.5 months of awesomeness. And it was incredible. And Jim, it was incredible. Those moments in time, watching Bitcoin past 10 and go to 19, like in a week, that was incredible, dude. Right. But unfortunately, it happened now because now we're all sitting here like, oh, 2017. But we're higher than we were before that massive run past 10,000 all the way up to 19.6. So, I mean, this is healthy, man. Like, we're in a healthy zone. We've consolidated, we've retraced, we've come back up, we've reconsolidated, we've shown that there's some strength at 6, 7, and 8, and hopefully we'll hold 8,300. And I just look at like the altcoin market as it's potentially about to move. Now, what if that's what McAfee's hinting? What if he's like, hey, Bitcoin's too old? That's how do you get a bunch of people to retweet and talk and get mad? Say Bitcoin's old and can't work anymore. And what if McAfee's really just a champion of the people?
What if? Or what if? What if he's just a egomaniac, attention hungry, old crazy man? What if?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, I mean, it's probably all true to an extent. I don't think he hates people. I don't think he wants people to get hurt, but I don't think he cares for anything other than first and foremost, I will say this. He does give a shit about privacy and liberty. He cares about those things, not just for himself, for everybody. There's an ideology there that he stands behind, that is what he believes. Can he get rich doing it? That's what I also think that he's 100% behind that. So anyways, as we kind of move past this topic, I don't necessarily mean that we have to leave it, but I will say, I don't hate the way that he's done it. It brings a lot of attention and it causes a lot of drama, which works well for social media folks.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, and I guess you don't have to answer this.
Do it.
But
Do it.
I haven't watched the documentary. Is John McAfee a murderer?
What?
Is John McAfee a murderer? He's a murderer, right?
You're coming in and out, bro. You're coming in and out. No, obviously, there's a lot of people who think he is. He was never. Well, like even in the documentary, it wasn't literally him who killed him, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and this is an accusation. Obviously, I'm not even saying it's not true. But he hired somebody to handle that, I believe.
He did a little.
Here's the lesson to be learned: don't shoot McAfee's dogs. Don't kill his dogs.
Oh, is that what happened? The guy killed his dogs? Oh,
Mhm.
you know what? Someone killed my dog. I don't know. I can't be held accountable for what I may do. So
Ryan. So Ryan says only dogs. Ryan, this dude supposedly killed McAfee's dogs, and then like the next day, the dude winds up dead. So that's the question. McAfee said he had nothing to do with it.
Don't fuck with dogs. New Netflix.
Ooh, man, dude, let's do it.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with dogs, starring John McAfee.
I got to see the Cats one.
I'm gonna tweet at John. I'm gonna tweet at John as soon as this. I better do it now before somebody else does it. Hey, look, I'll tag you too. Hold on a second. Maybe you should do this. Go ahead. Hey, say something cool because I'm about to tweet right now. You can see it real time, folks. For those of you watching.
Well, I mean, McAfee loves this stuff, so yeah, I'm sure he'll get a kick out of it. You can't go too far with John McAfee, right?
No, but don't get me wrong. I'm going to tell him that we're live. Jim, what's your at on Twitter?
I'm at Jim and them.
That's right. Go ahead. Hey, you can go ahead and entertain people while I'm doing this.
Get John McAfee all riled up. He comes barreling into the live.
I'll send him a link
with a beer in one hand and
a shot of cocaine in one hand and potentially heroin in the other.
Then a drunk Patrick comes in and starts interrupting him.
Oh God, Patrick would be in hog heaven. All right, so
I said that it's just a fun little ribbon, Patrick. Don't worry.
All right, handle this for a second while I finish tweeting this.
I'm actually surprised because I was worried if I'm talking about. I mean, because I'm not putting John McAfee down by any means. I'm just talking about. I mean, he's in the news. He's trying to get attention. We're doing exactly what he wants to do. But I know sometimes. I mean, Joe Blackburn, very good friends with John McAfee. I wasn't sure if he's going to get a little nervous that I'm talking about his buddy there, but. John McAfee's a good guy. He's entertaining. He's fun to watch. I got a problem with him throwing Bitcoin under the bus.
No, I mean, you have every right to think that.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2018, Ash in the chat, in 2018, a Florida court said he's legally liable. The person who actually did it was Gregory Viant Fall, his neighbor in Belize. I mean, I'm totally slacking because I do need to watch this documentary.
Don't watch it. Do not watch it. Save yourself all the terror and horror. Just don't watch it, bro.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Hashtag don't fuck with my dogs. Hell yeah. Yeah. Joe dropped in the tweets.
That's clever, dude. That's clever.
But yes, clever. As you did hint at and mention, and actually pivoted to give John McAfee the credit, we got a little run going here with Bitcoin. I mean, hopefully, if you're listening on the podcast, by the time you hear this, it hasn't already gone away. But, we got a nice little run going. Now, is this because of like instability in the world, unfortunately? Yeah. Is this kind of like the unfortunate happiness that comes from bad things that happen?
Well, I mean, keep in mind, the reason why Bitcoin exists is because bad things are happening in the world, right?
True.
It coincides, and Joel made some good points when he was kind of disagreeing with that, and I don't disagree with Joel's sentiment, right? But as the world burns, Bitcoin survives, and not just survives, it excels as the world burns. And by design, and the purpose was because the world will burn. Obviously, we're talking about not a physical burn. We're talking about a economic and social burn at times. I have no doubts, Satoshi or whoever he, she, they was under the impression that there's a lot of pain and suffering in the future of the world. And I mean, look, Jim, I mean, me and you are of the age where we kind of witnessed that $1.50 half gallon of milk turn into $4, right? And in that time period, what was the difference, right? And it was spending. It was the United States government spending. And before I get all economic, I mean, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, we can all agree that having trillions of dollars in debt, over $20 trillion in debt, isn't doing ourselves any favor, and we're not doing our kids any favors, right? And so we're going to probably, not witness, at least be able to live a pretty substantial life before it all falls down. But at some point, every major empire, I mean, an empire is everywhere, right? An empire does not mean like, Rome is, yes, in Italy, but the Roman Empire was everywhere. And then people were under the Roman Empire living this good life. All of a sudden, Roman Empire collapses. People are living a shit life because Rome, which is a city now, right? Not an empire, but the city, it collapsed because it couldn't sustain itself anymore. And it was pretending for long enough. Well, there's a lot of places pretending. And you can't call the American empire just the American empire. It's the Western empire. And we're all in cahoots. We all are. I'm not even mad at it, right? I mean, I'm living a pretty damn good life. What I think sucks sometimes, like worrying about paying a bill or whatever it might be. Shit, dude, there's people worried about living tomorrow, like staying alive, feeding my freaking kids so they don't die of starvation. Like that's real fucking pain and suffering, right? That's what life used to be like 300 years ago from the beginning of human existence. From the beginning of human existence on, it was like, how do I make sure I stay alive tomorrow? I don't want to get eaten by a tiger. I don't want to get killed by a bear. I don't want to get killed by other humans. I also need to make sure that I eat and I can sustain that style of living of some sort, and eventually we got here. Lucky us, because it's been pretty shitty for every other human for a very long time. They just didn't know it,
Well, but is that something to be said then when people, or I guess modern civilization gets too comfortable? Like, is there such thing where your comfort level's too high, and that's when people get depressed, and now you start like finding other things to be like stressed or anxious about and stuff like that?
Let's not get started on this topic because the answer is yes. I mean, I don't know if you agree or disagree, Jeb. I have a guess, but I mean, personally speaking, whenever we're that bored and we start coming up with, Kendall Jenner, I mean, not Kendall Jenner, Mrs. Jenner was Woman of the Year, the year that she had her sex change. And I have no problem with that. Do what you want to do. I'm a libertarian. All right. So I'm for liberty. If you want to be a woman and you're a man, if that's how you feel, who the hell am I to judge? Like, I don't have an opinion. Just stop. Like, people, this is not news. Like, it's not freaking news. You're not Woman of the Year because you were a man yesterday. I don't know. Like, I mean, not to get on that subject. I have no problem with that. I just, that's boredom. That's a humanity that's bored, that has too many good things happening to it. And therefore, we think that's what's important these days. It's not important.
But then, like, I guess I was going to say, is that kind of the extension of where something like crypto or Bitcoin grows out of? But I guess that would be no. Because like you were saying before, crypto and Bitcoin come out of, like bad things that happen. Like we were just talking.
The economic collapse.
Correct.
2009. Yep.
Yeah.
2008.
And partially the fact of like financial things going up when things go bad, that's due to a lot of like the wealthy people. I'm not getting into the conspiracy that like 5 wealthy people run the world, but people with money can throw their money around and sway and bring power and finance to things. And unfortunately, they start moving their stuff around when things get bad. So sometimes you might end up profiting off of bad things that happen in the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, right? Like, here's a perfect example. Uh, United States military sends a drone strike, kills dude. Some I don't even want to pretend as I can say his name. Bad guy general, of course. I mean, being a bad guy is relative to what side you're on. I don't even want to get started on that, but then Lockheed Martin stock price goes up, right?
Yeah.
People making some money, and if you knew that was going to happen beforehand, and you made some money, I mean, I guess is that good? Is that blood money? I mean, just in that respect, I don't have the answer for that. I don't even. I mean, like, we make a judgment on what's right and wrong, but when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, when it comes to the empowerment, that sovereignty of a financial institution becomes like the sovereignty that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin belongs to nobody and everybody. Like it exists. There is no border. There is no I'm in charge. There is no I'm printing extra. Everything that you know and see about Bitcoin is plain as day, and it's never going to change. I mean, outside of what the formula is, it can't be changed. I mean, it can be forked, it can be altered through that fork, and you could end up with BSV, BCH. And look, I mean, there was a time period when we're all sitting here scared to death that freaking, that what if, Satoshi actually is that I won't speak of. Everybody knows who he is. But, I mean, even I had my questions. What if this dude actually is part of that Satoshi group and everybody else is just dead? I mean, that's scary to me. You know what I'm doing? In that case, BCH don't sound so bad because I cannot support something that the CSW, Craig Wright, I wasn't going to say his name, but for those of you who might be listening that don't know what I'm talking about, Craig Wright is obviously a person who's recently been in court defending his position in certain ways and circumstances. It seems like some bullshit. I could get Ash Rolston on here to crush him. Ash Rolston, you need to go and like just prosecute this dude. Like, just say, hey, I mean, you can convince anybody of anything, right, Ash? Just go be like, show up to the courthouse, say, hey, I'm Ash Rolston. Check me out online. If you don't know who I am, you better, I'm going to ban you, right? And they're going to be like, oh, no, don't ban me. I'll let you. Come on, come in. Come and prosecute him, right? Because they're down in like Naples, Florida. They talk like rednecks.
Well, now but going into like, do you think most of what's going on is because of war talk and people getting everyone's getting high stress levels, which is understandable? Like, it feels like big things could be happening. Or is this kind of other things, whether it be just, the start of the new year, people getting back more into their business and investing and moving money around, stuff like that? Because I guess I've seen conflicting opinions on like CCT, for example. Some people are like, yeah, I think it's a little bit overblown, saying this has to do with the Iran stuff. It's more just a general correction. Like, where do you fall? Oh,
all right, so there you go. Real talk. Man, I'm here. Real talk. I've got a lot of friends who have perspectives and they share them with me. And I know that these perspectives are all bullshit unless they're actually the ones who are buying and selling on big levels, right? A free market is a manipulated market. But a manipulated market is actually what we know to be the stock market, one that sustains safety nets that prevent things from happening. That's technically manipulation. Free market can't be manipulated because it would entail that somebody could stop it from being manipulated, and a free market is allowed to be what it is. It's a dangerous game to play, folks. So you play the long or you play the super short, right? And I don't mean short as in, go short Bitcoin right now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you play the short term or you play the super long term. And all these medium term holds, and I used to be a medium term holder, and all those medium term holds, guess what happened to them, Jim? They turned into long-term losses.
Okay.
Right? Now, that's altcoin specifically, but Bitcoin, what's your time frame? Like, we talk about this all the time. Now, why is Bitcoin up right now? The answer is instability of the world. Jim, let me ask you a question. let's say, and this is completely theoretical, and I'm gonna remove ourselves from the thought process of the Middle East. I'm gonna use a different analogy here, but let's say you're in Colombia, right? You're a Colombian citizen, beautiful women, wonderful, jungle, beautiful trees. I mean, like just the way, like if I had to survive somewhere and I had like people to teach me, like if you know how to live in the Amazon, you're living the dream. Like compared to the rest of the world, like if you're not in a desert, you're not a place that can't get water, you're not up in like Iceland or in Alaska where it's freezing cold. You're in the place where you can wear the same thing every single moment of the day, and then you can go out into the jungle, and that is your refrigerator. That's your pantry, right? You got the Amazon. I mean, shit, you can't swim in it because you'll get killed by piranhas or crocodiles. But let's just say you live there. All right, not as as a native, but I mean, not as an Indian, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you're there, and civil war breaks out, or Colombia is now fighting, Guatemala. Right? There's whether it be a civil war or whether it be a intra country war, and you have to leave. What do you do with your money? What do you do with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you either got to take it with you, or you got to stash it. You got to stash it somewhere safe.
So, how beautiful is the idea of not carrying any cash, buying everything in Bitcoin, moving wherever you want to move, and literally just needing, letters and words to recover wherever you are.
Yeah, gotcha.
No matter what, you just get on the computer and say, "Oh, let me log into my Coinbase account," right? F that, dude. That's amazing. That is the most incredible way of storing and transferring wealth that's ever existed. You don't ever have to do anything else. I'm not saying that you can't, have other types of wealth. I encourage everybody to diversify. But if you are in the middle of a horrible situation and you can sell your shit and then you can just leave and not get robbed because you're not carrying any gold, cash, or whatever, you sold all that shit, what happens? You could just escape. You don't have to worry about anything else except eating, drinking, and moving.
Yeah,
that's like a pretty good privilege.
Slip away like a ghost in the night. No one's none the wiser.
And if you are a bad guy and everybody's leaving town and they start robbing folks, right? And they come in like, "Hey, give me everything you got." And you're like, "Here's some bread because all my shit's on the internet, bruh." And what can you do?
Well, is that what what's this like clickbait headline from a couple of days ago where they're saying Bitcoin selling for $25,000 in Iran?
That was proven to be false. I think that was just like you said, clickbait.
It's got to be garbage, right? It's just, or maybe there was one thing that posted.
Exactly.
People
and let me remind folks: if one person buys $1, but at that $1 on an exchange, it was listed at $25,000 Bitcoin, meaning the price of Bitcoin was saying 25,000. If you buy a single dollar when price is showing 25,000, that means there was some Bitcoin purchased at $25,000, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could have bought 25 cents. You could have bought $20. You could have bought $25,000 worth. And maybe you did buy Bitcoin for $25,000. But that is so subjective and relative to the exact amount and the time frame. And what did it go to immediately after? And what was it before? I mean, did it immediately come back down to 8,000, 7,000, whatever it was? Yeah. F that. No, Bitcoin was not $25,000 for any significant period of time.
I wasn't sure if it was one of those situations like, when like a big hurricane comes through and then people are selling water for like $30 for a 20-ounce bottle of water. You know what I mean? Because the opportunities everywhere.
Essentially, that's how I would compare it to what you just said.
Yeah, gotta love it. I love when people do that.
All right,
that's free market, Joe Blackburn.
Yep. All right, hey, look, Jim, I'm gonna have to reset my browser real quick. You got this for a minute.
All right. Yep. So I don't know. Joe's gone, so now we're talking about Star Wars again. That was a letdown, right, guys? Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, wasn't a fan. I don't know what was more disappointing: John McAfee throwing Bitcoin under the bus, or J.J. Abrams' Rise of Skywalker. Probably Rise of Skywalker, to be honest with you. This dude Joe Blackburn. I mean, he's a Bitcoin king, but he lives in the middle of the country, Not Alabama. I always say Alabama. Is he in Alabama? No, but he lives on farm areas. So this dude's internet is whack. It's whack as shit. Sometimes it works great. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the live the other night. I mean, it was working sometimes fine. Then he gets Joel on there. He's got a crystal clear screen. Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil. Don't tell him we were talking about him.
Yo, I heard everything you had to say. I got it on my phone, bro. But you're right.
Dude, I always say Alabama. I think it's because don't you like Alabama sports or something?
You're a hateful liar right now.
Or you hate Alabama sports. Is that what it is?
I am from Alabama originally.
Oh, that's what it is. That's
why
Nick
Saban and the University of Alabama can go to hell.
Okay. And yes, Joe, where the hell was Palpatine all these years?
That's a great question. I'm more enthralled with the fact that Picard is about to come out, which is the new series.
Oh, that's right. That's this month, isn't it?
Yes. I think it's going to be February. But yeah, within the month of where we're at right now. But, I was thinking about this the other day, Jim. If I were to have actually created an altcoin project.
Let me let you know, January 23rd is the premiere date.
All right, you win.
Yeah.
But you know what? Stop getting my hopes up. Mississippi sucker. He lives in Mississippi. Yeah. Farms are awesome. Yeah, I agree with that. Farms are awesome. I'm a Gator, though. Chomp chomp. Boeing 737 passenger jet crashes in Iran after takeoff. ISNA. Thanks, Joe Carlosari. Breaking news. That's apparently breaking news, and Joe broke it for us. Go effing Gators. Absolutely. Are you drinking a pink wine cooler, Joe? Ash, you should know better than that. Get off me. All right. So back to the main thing that we were saying. And to your point, as the world burns, Bitcoin succeeds. And it's the truth. And that's with not the hope that the world burns. It's with the expectation and the realistic expectations that there are massive mountains to climb for humans still left. Folks, what do you think a million years from now humans are going to say about, 2020? First off, they're going to forget about 2020. Secondly, when they think about it, they're going to be like, those heathens. And they're going to think the same thing about 1600, and they're going to think the same thing about 2020. And they're going to group us in the exact same century, essentially, right? Even though they are technically two different centuries. But all right, maybe since we have internet, they might extradite us out of that one. But we're primitive in relativity to the future, but we are, and we will maintain the most advanced culture every single day that you're alive, person. Every day you're alive is the best and most advanced the world has ever been. You can't hate on it.
Well, but then what about that serious FOMO though? When you start getting old and you start wondering about all the stuff you're going to miss out on, all the cool technology.
Oh, we're not going to have to worry about that. Elon Musk got us. We're going to live forever.
Yeah. Is that why a lot of people kind of, I don't want to say they wish for.
YOLO was so old people, bro.
Yeah.
You only live forever.
I don't want to say people
wish. It's YOLF now, folks. YOLF.
People don't wish for the end of the world, but I think everyone kind of has that feeling that it's over, like with their generation. Like, this is as good as it's going to get. It's all downhill from here. I think that's just something you tell yourself. So you're like, I'm not going to miss out on anything cool.
That's a good point. Like, you self-realize, like, everybody else sucks. Like, this is ridiculous. But I will say, like, I'm looking at my generation and those behind us, Jim, and I'm like, bro, what are these people going to do when they have to actually work? These are some wussies, bro.
Although that's classic old guy mentality, though. Your dad's generation was like, oh my God, my son's a wuss. Like, how's he going to survive in this world? Or your grandfather or whatever. Because, the old, I walked 10 miles in the snow to go to school, and kids these days. So I'm not even saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying it's like a natural human thing to always think, and probably is true, but you always think like they're going to have it easier, and then they're in for a rude awakening once like reality sets in.
But Jim, I don't think me and you are that far off. Like, when I'm saying that, I don't think you disagree with me completely. Now, do I think that humanity's doomed? No, I don't think humanity's doomed for forever. Like, somebody's going to survive, right? I mean, something's going to survive, and whatever that might be. I mean, we all know Ash Rolston's an AI, so at least she can pass this knowledge down. But I truly believe, like, in this circumstance, there are a lot of people who've never had to physically do anything, and that is that a de-evolution at this point, Jim? Like, I mean, are humans devolving now that there is no survival of the fittest, that everybody's taken care of? Is that actually against nature?
Well, but I think there's truth to that, but I think it's been an ongoing cycle. Like, it's not new. Because
but for how long? But for how long?
I mean, that's fair, because like I think it's de-evolving, but also that's part of evolution, because we are making things easier and easier. And I mean, because I think I saw this argument going on your Facebook page, because you threw a little compliment towards Andrew Yang Gang, and UBI. And I thought it was interesting that a lot of people were responding saying, like, UBIs I'll give you 50 years for it, but not now. But also, it's like, well, if you think it's worthwhile to do it in 50 years, might as well just do it now then. You know what I mean? Let's get ready for it. But also, like, whether you taking even like universal basic income out of it, it's like things will get more and more naturally easier as far as, automation and new technology, and things change. And I mean, I guess, is that market still going to evolve where now, we're not in a factory assembly line doing something, but we're working on the robots that work on the factory,
exactly,
or whatever. But who knows?
And this is where Bitcoin comes in and actually kind of makes a case for proof of work, right? So, and for the record, I am not a UBI fan. That's not what attracts me to Andrew Yang. I'm actually, I lean conservative and libertarian and most everything fiscally, and I'm very libertarian on personal and really. I mean, I find there's a lot of similarities between the left and libertarians in certain circumstances. You've got to allow people to be themselves. It is not the government's job to regulate morality. I stand by that. And I say this, and I'm not trying to be partial to any specific religion, even though I do have my own faith. It is the church or the synagogue or the temple or the mosque. It's the religious faith leaders who regulate a lot of morality traditionally, right? And now we're in the stage where government is telling people right and wrong. Not here's a standard of taking care of your neighbor and not being an asshole and not going to jail. Now it's saying this is ethical. This is not ethical. This is where a lot of problems are going to go in the future. But before I get into that, I want to say, and Ash made a good point, with what I just said. She said that's a very U.S. centered, not just U.S., Western centered view of things. There are 3 billion people who don't even have running water in their homes. Absolutely. Ash, first and foremost, completely agree with you. I've never forgotten those folks. And when I say that, and when I say what I just said, it actually is saying that the U.S. in the Western world are the ones that are getting fat, happy, lazy, and complacent. And thus, the genes and the reproduction methods and how this is actually happening, it's not going to be pretty for the West. Black, white, Cuban, or Asian, as Will Smith said, right? It's all going to suck if you live in the West and life is good. Because as that's those 3 billion people, that needs a reminder to everybody else in the whole, United States and Western world, Canada, look, folks, you got it pretty good. I don't care how poor you are, you got it good. Doesn't mean you can't have it better. Doesn't mean I don't want you to have it better, but we got it pretty good. Now, back to the point, proof of work, right? How do you make everything fair? I mean, Jim, is life fair?
No, it's not.
I mean, it's not fair to the miners.
Well, that's the point right there too. What Ash was saying, which, yes, I think we do all understand that we are more talking about like Western civilization or like more first world countries. But yeah, that's proof right there. Like, there are, billions of people that have no running water. There are people that have things way worse than even some of the, poor or homeless here. But again, we're talking more relativity, like everything's relative to, your frame of reference. But yeah, that's proof right there. The world is not fair, not a fair place.
it's not fair to be a miner right now, right? I mean, the price goes up and down. You're kind of subjected to everybody's opinion and FOMO. And I mean, like I said, it's no more YOLO. I'm counting on Musk making it YOLF. You only live forever. So because of that, makes decisions a lot easier or more permanent. Don't kill yourself. I mean,
Plus, they're raising the smoking age
stupid.
too. So now they're gonna have to wait even longer to smoke.
Man, what do you think about that?
You didn't like my dumb joke because you said minors, but I made it seem like mine. Yeah, forget it.
Well,
it's bizarre.
The problem, hold on. First off, let me address your joke. The joke was funny. I did recognize it, and I skipped over the laugh because it was actually a really good discussion topic.
It didn't deserve a laugh. I was messing around.
That was hilarious, bro. Good job.
I don't. It's weird. I mean, stuff like that when you're younger, you feel like we got to fight for this, but when it doesn't affect me directly, I'm just like, I don't care. Keep it 18, make it 21. I don't care.
I mean, okay, so I'm of the opinion that standards have to be set for humans to be less anxious, right? If there aren't standards, we don't know what the goalposts are, then it does cause a little bit of chaos and even anarchy at the extreme levels. I'm a person who appreciates a standard because it allows to set not just a goal, but it sets what exceeds the goal. Because when you have one standard, you can have other standards. Like don't get a speeding ticket, right? I mean, people who don't get speeding tickets, they keep low insurance. I think that's a wonderful way of being able to make sure that who you're insuring is going to do their best to not, get a speeding ticket. I mean, if you just got stopped by the cops and there was no repercussion, you wouldn't give a shit. You were just like, oh, I just got stopped by the cops. It'd almost be a badge of honor. And it is to this moment for some people. Last time I got a ticket, you were with me. If you don't remember, in the middle of a hurricane, I'm trying to get this dude to New Orleans to get on a plane. How are you going to pull me over? Asshole cop. Man, I'm still mad about that. Right. But, the idea that, when you get a ticket, it's not just going to be like $140. It also raised my insurance almost 400 freaking bucks. I hadn't had a ticket in over 10 years.
Yeah.
I blame you, Jim. You should be paying my insurance.
That's not like
Just kidding, by the way. I chose every minute and every mile per hour and every choice. I could have gone right. I could have taken a right and gone the shortcut. I was like, no, it's a hurricane. I better not hit no tree. Damn, what happened? The cops were out, making sure everybody was safe, and they got me. I wasn't even going that fast, dude.
No, I wasn't. You weren't going that fast. Plus, I think you tried to name drop a little bit too. Like, oh, you must be new here. It's one of those.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
He was not. And he didn't care.
No, he wasn't new. The guy, he was like,
he was.
He was training that dude, and I thought he said he was training himself, like he was just got out of training or something. I was like, oh, no wonder I don't know who you are. He was like, what? Bro, I've been here for like 5 years. Shit, that didn't work. Anyways, all right. So moving forward, I'm very privileged and very glad to be able to have these conversations with you, Jim, and to be able to have a voice in this space. And I tried to represent a very comical at times, very sensible as much as I can, but more so, average. I like to be very average when it comes to what are most people thinking. And, I'm not a fool and think that most people aren't partisan these days. Almost everybody I know is partisan to an extent. But I will say that most people don't know, what partisan actually means. They're just, convinced that there's one side or the other. And this is a Western and specifically an American problem. But I can say this, I know a lot of friends that I disagree with on a regular basis, Jim, that I go into CCT, which we don't allow politics in CCT. And it's like we weren't fighting a second ago, right? And that's what Bitcoin does. It unifies through the idea of wealth transfer, the opportunity to increase wealth, and a brighter and for sure tomorrow. Regardless of what happens, Bitcoin's always there to fall back on. And until people stop mining it, it's always going to exist. And when Bitcoin's last block is mined and there are no more Bitcoins to mine in year 2140, when we're all chilling in our like 140s, right? Then you can start making a bunch of money off transaction fees. and that's how the white paper and that's how the formula was written to protect Bitcoin and to keep it going for forever. Bitcoin is the internet gold. It's like the first time. Hey, think about this, Jim. What do you think happened to all that gold that was like stolen, obviously from South America? But you roll up to the Mayan temples and they're just like, they're using gold for like basketballs, just whatever, oh, I got a basket. I burned it, made it hot, made it into a basket. And they're just carrying it around because there's gold everywhere. It's everywhere, right? And so obviously,
it ain't no thing to them. They're like, oh,
no, exactly.
That, they call it like bleeblow. Oh, you mean bleeblow? We got it.
Yeah.
Like, no,
yeah. Actually use that to use the bathroom with, here's my toilet. You want that? No, I obviously, I'm being a little bit, white, I guess, and being an asshole about it. But, honestly, there was a lot of gold and there's a lot of wealth stolen, but wealth was relative back then. I mean, did the Mayans know that gold was worth anything to the English? No. I mean,
we're not even speaking about, we're just talking about, again, like relativity. Like if we went, say we're Jean-Luc Picard traipsing through the galaxy.
Absolutely. Federation Starship Enterprise.
You show up on a planet that's made of gold. To them, gold ain't shit. They don't care.
Or iridium.
But then we bring like Earth soil with us and like, oh my God, you have bleeblow?
Wow.
Like, that's
bleeblow.
Like you have Earth soil. That's
bleeblow.
Again, it just everything
was a good name for it.
Perceived value, like it's
perceived value. Yeah, exactly. It's relative.
Until someone does.
Exactly right. So the point I'm making off that is not just a joke, but it comes to this is like, people came, and if you had the opportunity to just have all this wealth and all this amass value, right, of just gold, tons and tons of gold, there really wasn't anything to compare gold to back then. Gold was the standard. And that's how I want people to think about Bitcoin as the internet goes. The internet changed the world. It connected every human being that can get on the internet. And there's only more people accessing the internet every effing day. Every effing day, a new person or 1,000 or 100,000 gets on the internet. Every day, new people are born who are going to replace old people who never heard of the internet. The internet is the future of everything, pending the Russians do not explode some EMP over all the major cities. All right. Which, or Chinese. No offense to my Russian friends.
But you don't think the Americans would do that?
I mean, they would do it and blame it on the Russians.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's the Russians, obviously. No, but thank you, Ash, by the way. She said, I'm so proud of Joe for knowing those technical details. I'm proud that you thought I know about it. That's cool, man. I feel a little appreciated moment. It was really awesome of you, Ash, to recognize me that way. And Ash, you're AI and you're a bot, and everybody knows that. So for the internet to tell me that I'm doing a good job, I appreciate that. But back to the point is that the gold days of, and again, I'm not exonerating, white people from Europe from stealing the crap out of the Mayan, gold, but they go over there, they have tons of gold. Mayans don't even know it. That's even to this very minute, you're still in that, 1600 mentality right now to what Bitcoin is. There's only so much gold. There's only so much Bitcoin, and there's only one way to get Bitcoin. And that is to mine it. And everything else is how humans deal and how
change.
I mean, that right there, that's a human created, alternative. You got to go mine it to get it. Everything else is a secondary market.
Yep.
That's it. Period. And humans create that value. But because humans have created that value, and not only, Jim, has it built up, it has surpassed 9,000,000% in growth. Just same way gold was, At one point, somebody probably traded a steak for like a pound of gold, right? I mean, that's a lot of gold. And someone's like, here, I got some shiny rock. Give me some steak. I got this.
Yeah, give me that steak.
A glass of water.
What would be amazing, by the way, is, McAfee comes out. I mean, not to bring McAfee back up, but McAfee comes out
McAfee.
January 1st or whatever. or within the first week of the year, and say says his bet and everything was all a ruse, and then it fucking comes true, just for like extra egg on his face. I mean, of course he'll try to be like, no, I said it all along, but it would just be amazing if then it just all like it did hit those numbers, and then they were like, hey, well, you said you were just it was all a ruse.
It was a joke, right?
Seriously, that was the ruse.
And you know what? I will expect McAfee to say exactly that word in that statement when it happens. Look, and by the way, Bitcoin doesn't have to go to $1 million for McAfee to win that bet, right? If Bitcoin goes to 60 grand, what has McAfee done for everybody who's ever listened to him? Honestly, make him a fuckload of money.
Yeah, if it just hits if it just kind of breaks the all-time high, it's kind of a victory. Well, I guess it's a victory for everyone no matter what, but still.
Dude, if Bitcoin does a tenth of what I hope it's going to do, not just hope. One thing McAfee said that will stand true from the test of time, no matter what, is it's a mathematical formula. It's a formula. It's a mathematical equation. Why Bitcoin will continue to go up. And if you're not paying attention, if you believe Bitcoin is too high or that the charts show that it should only go down, you might be right tomorrow, but you're not right next decade. And I cannot be convinced that Bitcoin won't be around for another 10 years. And if it's around for another 10 years, that means something has done something with Bitcoin for it to stick around. And you know what? If I'm the only person doing it, I'm going to have all the Bitcoin. F y'all. Go to hell, non-Bitcoiners. Y'all can go F the D.
Unless Russia blows off that EMP, though.
Well, you don't have to have the internet actually to do Bitcoin. Actually, Ash Rolson taught me that.
Oh, well, but like, how are you going to transact it, though?
I'll just ask Ash Rolson.
All right, fair enough. Or, there's got to be, maybe not even just Russia.
Ooh, Ash won't be around, though, because an EMP will.
Oh, because it's AI. Because there's got to be what?
Think about that, Ash.
Like techno terrorists out there that want to get rid of all technology and robots, right? That's got to be a real thing.
You know what? I expect that to be like, I mean, keep in mind, sci-fi movies, as you know, they define our future. And I mean, I got to say, I'll say it like this, Jim. I might be one of those people one day. I mean, like, Skynet, dude. Skynet's coming.
Well, and I mean, I know this is kind of facetious, but there's like a smidge of truth there. Like the ultimate, unification of people would be if we created a computerized villain, if we had a common enemy and say like an AI, we wouldn't be fighting with Iran. We'd be like, hell yeah, Iran, let's do this. Let's take these fucking robots out.
Bro, like, Tony Anthony, I got to give him credit on one of our videos that we did a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. He said, I'm not worried about anything except buying my own EMP so I can just like screw everybody else over when it comes down to it. Because if you got your own EMP, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. You can break every code. You don't need quantum computing to be able to shut everything down if you've got an EMP. How hard is it to get an EMP, by the way? Ash Wilson, answer that. You're here. How hard is it to make an EMP?
And because obviously, obviously for me anyways, my main knowledge of EMPs are from movies. So, I mean, how accurate is that even? Like
fitting. Look at the most recent post.
Absolutely. Well, because like, for example, like in movies, silencers sound like silencers. You're a gun man. I'm not. That's not what the silencers are. Not even like a real thing, right?
No, silencers are a very real thing, but they're not a real thing like they sound like in the movies.
Like where it's like toot toot, like a dart gun or something. It's just still a loud bang, right?
It's like boom instead of kaboom.
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering as far as like
how far away you are. It might sound like toot 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 toot.
Yeah, fair enough. But not when
you shoot a bow and arrow. Like, dude, if you really want to be stealth, shoot a bow and arrow, bro.
I mean, that is hardcore. That's the real.
I mean, if you can kill a bear with a bow and arrow, you can kill a human with a bow and arrow.
I mean, that's going to be pretty tough.
Not that I condone that or want anybody to be assassinating people with bows and arrows, but it's very marvel of me to put that out there.
Yeah, Joe in the chat. What appears to be first of its kind transaction, two developers working in separate countries have successfully sent a Bitcoin Lightning payment over radio waves. Organized over Twitter this past week, and the transaction was sent by Rodolfo Novak, co-founder of Bitcoin hardware startup CoinKite, to developer and Bloomberg columnist Elaine Wu. The completed payment effectively moved real Bitcoin from Toronto, Canada to San Francisco, California. Huh. Interesting. Sending Morse code Bitcoin.
Morse code Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Jim.
Yes.
So humans, animals, whatever, we get to a point where we achieve consciousness, right? And I was listening to I'm a big fan, and I love podcasts. Obviously, I have my own podcast, me and Jim, we're people who have to appreciate what other people are saying. And Joe Rogan is a lifelong favorite of mine. He's been somebody who as bipartisan as he can be at times. He's also very standstill in certain ethics and morality, and he's just very sensible in my opinion. And I mean, a lot of people don't like him, and that's fine. I understand why if you don't like him. It's not for everybody. But he brought up a point about human consciousness, right? What makes us so different, right? How does humanity have this ability to utilize more brain power? If you go look at the average primate, they have pretty high brain power where they could potentially, if they were accessing and using their brains, they could communicate, and they might be able to do a lot of the same things we do. And I'm not a real big proponent of evolution in the sense that humans have evolved. I am a man of faith. I do believe in some creationism aspects, but I'm not like somebody who's just stuck in a certain mindset that thinks this is the only way it can happen. But consciousness is a very big deal. And when you think about the Matrix, when you think about movies, when you think about, how humans have been able to evolve, is the future, not necessarily trying to address, and I say all that not to address how we got here, but it's more so, what is the outcome? Like, Jim, what's the final outcome? It's forget how we got here. Like, are we a product of a single organism, potentially making it and finding another organism that was also making it as a single cell one day and mating, and one became a male? It doesn't matter to me in this conversation. What matters to me is the eventual end result, the actual Matrix, if we're not there right now.
So you're not necessarily asking like what's the meaning of life, but you're asking almost what's the point? Like what?
No, where do we end up? Are we going to end up in the Matrix?
That's interesting.
Or is the goal of biology and evolution to become a single cell organism again?
Well, I guess this isn't quite different than what you're saying. Like, do we end up in a Matrix? But I believe, like, there's that thing in the Matrix when Agent Smith is talking about like the human condition and how they initially made the Matrix too perfect and people would reject it. So they had to make it like more real. And then he starts comparing humans to a virus. I would say that's apt in where we would end up, is that eventually it would be space travel, like your thing, Star Trek, except it wouldn't be idealized as Star Trek. Maybe that in our minds, morality wise, we would think we're doing a good thing, but the main like DNA in people would be that we're spreading and like looking for a new place to infect, like in a weird way. Like we look for a new planet to inhabit, but all we're doing is infecting that planet and then making more people, then spreading it out and using that up, and then we look for a new one. I mean, obviously this is way in the future type deal, but yeah, I think
the million years from now, year 1 million, we're humans.
I mean, and maybe it does change to, we don't look for physically a new planet. It is, we build digital spaces that we infect. But yeah, our thing is we need to be everywhere. Like, we are no different than, say, like a single cell organism that just goes somewhere and multiplies, and they just do whatever they do until they have to go find a new place.
I mean, like, what do we think of the difference between a lizard who just like sticks his tongue out and swats a badass mosquito? That's cool. By the way, I would love that talent, But there's a big difference in conceptualization and even consciousness between that and a monkey, right? Just a generic monkey. Like that, monkeys are smart. You can teach them a lot of things. Or a chimpanzee, I mean, which is one of the smartest of primates. Now, I look at where we're at and say, what if you were that much smarter than all of this?
Yeah.
Are we just the difference between a lizard and a orangutan? I mean, I value an orangutan more. I think that orangutan does have a level of consciousness higher than the 6-inch lizard that can regrow its tail that I would accidentally pull off when I was trying to catch it. And I'm not saying that there's one, that orangutan's life is valued more, but I mean, I believe that their level of consciousness is higher. But are we any different if to a higher being or higher thinking or like, what are we missing? I mean, what I'm saying though, is at one point, humans were either, if you believe, the idea and the theory of evolution, we were that, and we've evolved to a certain point over millions of years of biology and evolution, or you could be created by a being that probably looks at us like ants. I mean, regardless, is the future of humanity the Matrix? I believe it is. You can't convince me that that it's not going to happen, or that we're not already there. And if we do have a creator, we kind of are the Matrix.
Yeah, or I think, I also would lean more towards, at the very least, we will create the next thing that does destroy us. I mean, like whether it be not necessarily like a Terminator robot, where it's like an endoskeleton or whatever, but something that is better than us in every way. I mean, hey, when people click download on Bitcoin Radio, they didn't know what they're getting themselves into. That's for sure.
Cheer, the wait is over. Who is Joe and Jim on BitcoinRadio.com? .com. All right, look, we are over the hour mark. We will wind it down here. I will finalize, or at least leave everybody with this. I want to give Fred Krueger, who's watching right now, I want to give a big shout out to Lynx and the Lynx wallet. They've done some incredible things. I'm really proud of you, Fred. You're one of my heroes in the space, and I've looked up to what you've created, not just in crypto, but in the tech world in general. Obviously, that's unsolicited, and Fred has never asked me to do anything for him. I'm just a fan of his, and I look forward to watching your project Lynx grow and become something very, very influential in the space. And I have no doubts, because it's got an amazing leader, and that's you. I also want to give a shout out to Joe Carlosari, Inga, who's a tech girl herself, and Ash. Obviously, you know how much love I got for you. I mean, you are the internet, Ash, and I don't mess with you, so whatever you say is always going to win. But Jim, thanks always for you. I mean, you don't get enough love and appreciation, but you're starting to, man. People start asking me, "Hey, Joe, you were live. Where was the other guy, Jim? That's his name, right?" Well, people remember your name now. Shit, that's going good, dude. I mean, I didn't even make a joke about Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Almost made it. I do want to second what you're saying before. Shout outs to the people that popping up in the chat. I know it's kind of sporadic when we come up, when we go live, so hopefully we get some more people showing up. But the regulars, the names I see in there, everyone's very knowledgeable. I highly appreciate their input, and I think it's great.
Well, we fluctuated between the top 10 and top 30 and top 50 at different times in different episodes in the I guess the podcasting world, but in Facebook, we will always be number one. There's nobody who can touch us.
Hell yeah. And let's hope this let's hope this run keeps going. Come on, Bitcoin.
Hey, look, you can't convince me we're not going to cross 8,500 and the second start to the right and straight on till morning. Cheer. Yeah. All right, Bitcoin Radio, you know what time it is. It is take care of the cryptoverse. I know what I'm doing. I know what Jim's doing. I know what people like Ash and Inga and Fred, among others, and Joe Carlosari, even you, my man. I appreciate everybody's influence. Everybody that I know, all my friends, all my people, all CCT, every post you make, it shapes the cryptoverse. Everything we do matters. And I want everybody to remember that. Everybody. And Jim, you have been a huge influence in not just my confidence, but in the way that this show has been shaped. I couldn't thank you so much, man. I mean, you're bigger and better than you will ever know. And I know you have a big head, and I'm not talking about your man stuff.
Oh, wow.
Until next time, Bitcoin Radio. Jim, any final words?
I mean, like Joe said, we know what we're doing. What are you doing for it? Till next time.
See you soon, Bitcoin Radio.